What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NFL DFS contenders on DraftKings for Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Head on over to Twitter and follow me, at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Let me know in the comments section, who's your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. And finally, shout out to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor of this video. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. Get yourself a little bit of extra cash on your first deposit. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Dallas Goedert, Greg Zuerlein, Jalen Reagor, Miles Sanders, and Ezekiel Elliott. This is a tough slate. It's pretty flat from top to bottom, which is going to make it a little bit tougher, but it should bring the chops down a little bit, so we shall see. Anyway, time to get into my favorites, my top 5 plays for today. Let's do it. First up at number 5, we've got Devontae Smith. He is 7,200, projected for 20.5 fantasy points. This is going to be just a great fantasy matchup. Neither defense is spectacular. Eagles are 3.5-point dogs in Dallas with a 51.5-point game total. But Eagles offense ranks 21st via PFF. I feel like that's a little too low. Cowboys defense 27th. That feels about right, if I'm being perfectly honest. 7% chance that Devontae Smith goes for north of 30. An 11% chance he's the optimal captain. 35% at utility. That gets him all the way up to 46% likelihood. I wouldn't have expected Smith to crack my top 5 for this slate. I would have assumed Zeke got there ahead of him. But a $7,200 price tag, that actually works pretty well for Smith. And that's usually a price tier where I see a gap. I'm usually more likely all the way at the top or much closer to the bottom in like the 3 to 4K range. This is not a range I normally get to, but for today, for the way that this matchup is set up, I think Smith looks great. We're paying up a little bit more at number 4 for CeeDee Lamb. He's 9,800, projected for 25 fantasy points. Cowboys have the benefit of being the favorites here. Really good offense, but they only rank 10th via PFF. That's something that you guys should be paying attention to. Eagles defense, middle of the pack. What you're looking for out of Lamb is a big one. 20% likelihood that he goes for north of 30. An 18% chance that he's simply the optimal captain. That's a pretty big number for a wideout. 33% at utility. That gets him over that 50% mark. CeeDee Lamb is number 4. I have not much else to say here. He's a lot easier to roster at captain than utility, though. I think the price is a little too high for that utility spot. So if you're going to him, I like him more at captain. But he's not even my favorite wide receiver on his own team. That's because Amari Cooper, just 9K, projected for 25 fantasy points. Clearly the exact same matchup against the Eagles. An 18% chance to go for north of 30. 16% likelihood to be the optimal captain, but we get to 40% at utility. That's because you're saving just a little bit more money. To get him at 9K, he's just going to simply fit better than CeeDee Lamb in a utility spot. So 56% likelihood we get Amari Cooper in the optimal. If I have to flip the coin between Cooper and Lamb for right now, I'm going Cooper. At number 2, I expected him to be 1, but got edged out. Dak Prescott. He's 11,200, projected for 27 fantasy points. He's whatever. Every game that goes by with Dak coming out of the injury is going to look a little bit better for him. He should get a little bit more comfortable. He's got almost a 28% chance of going for north of 30 fantasy points. He's 18% to be the optimal captain. 45% at utility, which I find very interesting. That's what we get Dak to. We get him all the way up to 63%. Now, normally, we're seeing the quarterbacks get into like the low 70s in this situation. There's so many weapons on both sides of the ball offensively, and the pricing is set in such a way that it's a lot flatter. The drop from 1 to 8 is a lot different than we've seen in some of these other showdown videos. Now, we've got Dak locked into the number 2 spot. I think everybody knows who's going to be number 1. But it's only by the slimmest of margins. Now, before we talk about that number 1 contender, one last reminder: like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell, head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman, comment section, favorite contender, least favorite contender. If there's someone you thought was going to be on this list that you don't see, let me know. And again, shout out to No House Advantage for being the sponsor of this video. 11K Jalen Hurts is at the top of the heap, projected for 27 fantasy points. I'm really curious to see how the legs look here. It's not the best Dallas defense, that's for sure. 28% chance that Hurts can go for north of 30. 14% likelihood he's the optimal captain, 51% at utility. Combine those two numbers, you get a 65% chance that Jalen Hurts is in the optimal lineup at all. That is the biggest mark of any player on this slate, and that makes Hurts the number one contender for today. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS contenders on DraftKings for Monday Night Football, Eagles, and Cowboys. Now, there's a FanDuel version of this video around here somewhere, so check that out. I'll have updates later today, so keep your eyes peeled to my Twitter. Good luck tonight, everybody. I'll be back again on Thursday for another edition of The Contenders.